Oh, man. Oh. Oh. Anyway, hello YouTubers and all those who happen to watch. It is I, Dan Van Dam. But hold the applause, please. Hold the applause. Anyway, it is enough of that fake banter there. Alright, I just got finished watching all of TNA. Now, this is a couple problems I see with TNA and as well as some of the forecast of what we've seen tonight. Okay, so Tna Impact, it kicks off. Had a lot of decent stuff going on. I mean, it wasn't a bad episode. The setting, of course, was a little bit different from, your typical TNA standings. It's because they were on the road with this one. They were actually doing something in a north area there, we all know, and it was nice to see them not in freaking Florida for a change. And that's all I can really say. I mean, it was a nice atmosphere. It was a large crowd. And you can actually hear the responses. You didn't hear the washed down generic Floridan people who go to the Universal Studios at the exhibit we like to call the Disney ride of TNA wrestling. It was actually in this large arena, somewhat a large arena, and it was cool. I mean, that was a nice change of pace. Now, if they could put the six sides back, that'd be even better. Some people go, well, that's not needed. Four ring sides are fine. I don't agree with that. I think the six sides gave it some sort of unique flavor to it. Granted, they kind of took off of the AAA, luchador belts and all that crap. I understand that. But nonetheless, it still looked interesting. It was a nice large ring. It was kind of interesting. It was just a cool ring. I like the six sides. I don't know why. But anyway, going through the matches, you had your tag team with Gunner and Murphy versus the current reigning Beer Money. Though it was a decent, jobber match, I guess. Then so I'm kind of just skipping over that one because it wasn't really that interesting. You had the main event, which I'll go into after, but you had the Jared and Carol, or whatever hell her name is, had some sort of freaking marriage proposal, returnal thing, and I just didn't care about that. It was kind of a stupid storyline anyway. And you had your this whole entire confrontation with Hulk Hogan and Dixie Carter, which is one hot woman, might add. But anyway, enough of that man-tesque coming out of my mouth. There was pretty much some drama between that. They were talking about, oh, well, I got control now, which was Hulk Hogan, and, the Dixie Carter just saying, kind of sniffling thing. I don't really care about that part of the storyline. It doesn't have anything to do with wrestling. It's just story building, and it's really hard for me nowadays to really hold on to too many story plots with this anymore. I just watch it because of the wrestling. I don't watch it because of the freaking soap opera with spandex. I just don't really care that much. But yeah, main event was actually return of a icon Sting and versus Jeff Hardy. The match obviously was Hardy got his ass kicked a little bit there, and Sting won the title. Yeah, I was really hear the enthusiasm behind my voice. What else? I mean, this New York Jet guy, Bart Scott, which I don't know who the hell this guy is. I don't even care who the hell this guy is. I don't watch football at all. I sound so enthusiastic about this, I know. And, this is my first attempt at this type of thing. And, I mean, I can honestly put a lot of, pizzazz behind this, but it just really was not that a memorable episode. I mean, it was nice, a change of scenery. Some of the matches were okay. It wasn't that, appealing. I mean, unless you like Hulk Hogan, unless you like Sting, unless you like Jeff Hardy, it was not that great. You had Scott Steiner. He went against the Freak Rob Terry. That match was again, it wasn't really that interesting. I mean, again, it's just old talent versus new talent. It would have been nice to see, some folks like AJ Styles actually wrestling, doing what he did back in the day. What the hell was that? Did back in the day, and again, This neckbeard right here was really disappointed with the performance of this week's episode. I mean, it was all right. It wasn't a bad episode. I just wish, they would stop trying to be like WWE. That's my main gripe with TNA. It's they're trying so hard to be like WWE. It does not matter what you're trying to compete against. If you have a good product, you run with it. You keep the young talent, the hungry talent, the starving talent, make them feel enthusiastic about their company and make them run with it. Some people say that TNA is a bad company. I don't think they're a bad company, because if they apply their younger talent and give them the main spotlight and, keep the old crap back and keep the young stuff forward, I don't see a problem with the company blossoming into something good. That's how ECW got good. Got really good. They had young talent who performed their asses off and gave a fantastic, entertainment value. Granted, some of them might have got hurt, all that, but, that's how they made their household names. Some people disagree. Some people think that this Extreme Championship Wrestling or this Eastern Championship Wrestling division was not anything good whatsoever. I had to disagree. I saw a lot of good matches on tapes, as well as, some feeds of ECW back in its prime, and it was a fantastic company. It could have got places, obviously, sooner if they could have got, good publishing with their broadcast. The same goes with TNA. They have the limelight right there in front of them. They have Spike TV filled with male testosterone males bouncing their junk around to see the slevas, or I call them the sluts of diva kind of chicks there, the knockouts, whatever the hell you call them. You jiggle a couple of those around in front of the screen for a couple moments. You get those guys off. Once you get those guys off, they're bound to stay for the rest of the performance. Bad mental image. Try to forget that, please. But above all else, you have the young talent there. You don't need to fire any more young talent because you're trying to keep up with these older guys because they want a good paycheck. Again, guys, drop the phony bullshit with the, trying to be like WWE. Granted, WWE is not that great themselves either. There's some shining talent, some nice gems in WWE, don't get me wrong. This isn't me saying, WWE is the greatest company in the world, because let's face it, too, they're pretty much Barney and Friends as far as I'm concerned. Again, at the same time, look at TNA as a company, and I think that at some points some of their humor is somewhat funny, but at the same time they're making themselves into a joke. And for them to make it successful in any company, they have to look at it like this. They can't look at what they're going to develop themselves as now. They have to look at themselves in the future and where they're going to be. And they need to make sure their company is more enthusiastic about themselves. Because let's face it, you're going to have characters like R-Truth and all these other guys going off somewhere else where the grass is greener. And it's just going to be really, 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 really not that great for them. Now again, don't get me wrong, I'm not no professional wrestler. I'm not no guy who makes mid-cards. I'm not the guy who makes cards for pay-per-views. I just see it as it is, and if TNA wants to make themselves a bigger household name, because let's face it, TNA is there. They're almost there. They can get to that climax, that peak of performance. They can get there, but what's keeping them down is they're trying to do the clown act. We're trying to say, well, we're better than them. If the entire roster is not saying that out loud, then it's not true. It's all about enthusiasm behind their brand. Push other people out like Orlando Jordan. They down the guy because he has this homosexual, out open about his sexuality with his professional wrestling career now. Who gives a shit if what he expresses himself? As long as he can wrestle, that's good. Same with Samoa Joe. Just get him out there and wrestle. The same with, Kaz, whatever the hell his name is now. He changes his name like his underwear. But, get these guys out there and actually make sure they perform. And closing out, I don't really care about the... what the heck's his name? Not Mad Morgan, but the other guy. Hernandez or something like that. This storyline, just end it. Make these guys do their matches, make them perform, just do something else other than having to rival each other. I mean, these guys are both talented guys, don't get me wrong, but please, for the love of God, Make them do something else rather than slap each other around. This is getting on my freaking nerves. The storyline was alright for a couple minutes. They should just pat each other in the back and say, cool story, bro. But other than that, that's my summary of TNA wrestling. And scattered-minded as much as it could be. I wish that the company could do well. A lot of, even Vince McMahon even says that. He said it about ECW, even though he picked apart ECW looking for talent. That's what he did with TNA. That's what WCW did. They both obviously pulled things out of it, but WWE wished well on TNA. That's even what Chris Jericho said on one of his, someone grabbed some, it was on a radio station of some sort. He even said that, Vince even wants TNA to do well because he likes competition. Vince, if it means money, competition's the way to go. I mean, it's something that he can look forward to and keep his company on the edge of their seat. Because when they were in their Attitude Era, that was the best sales for Vince for a long time, next to the Hogan era. And sales equal product sales and sales. And again, it's just, if TNA can do it, then they can do it. They just need to push themselves. That's it. That's all I gotta say. And with tonight's performance, I could see some potential if they keep themselves on the road with every recording. And I could see a lot of potential if they keep the young talent in the front. No Stings being heavyweight champion. No gimmicky ass title belts that look like something that came out of the Divas locker room. And none of this other crap that I've seen on the show. Please, I beg you. I watch your stupid shows to watch wrestling. I don't want to watch gimmick. I think a lot of wrestling fans can agree with me. It's about wrestling. If some guys are about the TNA, not the TNA Total Non-Stop Action, but the Tits in ASS, then it's go watch that on the internet or something. You're already here. Look up TNA, look at the roster or something like that. Look up the Knockouts links and fap through all their skinny, fleshy photos you can find. But please, TNA, give us, pardon me, that was a burp of disgust. But, please, give us something other than this crappy storyline plot. This is how WCW got buried, by trying to push the older talent out there. They build up so much so, it will become too late for them. Because they're going to be building up all this crap, building up all these factions, all these rosters, and it's going to kill the company. You didn't hear it here first, you heard from other people saying this. Even Paul Heyman says this. He even says forefront, think of the future. And I agree, think of the freaking future, TNA. Because you guys are going to be on the outside looking in. And your talent's just all going to slowly but surely drift off because they make money. And if they don't feel enthusiastic about their company, they're not going to want to make money there. So, I repeated myself quite a couple times in this video. You guys all know that. But that is my TNA review in a whole.